Qualidade, ok. Tá normal.
É mesmo?
Tá, tinha 2 chatbots abertos.
Meu Deus.
Continuar da onde? Se eu não comecei o jogo, mas tudo bem.
Oh, there you are, Theo. Honestly, late to your own dream. Do you even know where you are? Ah, well, it's time we got you sorted out with these cards. Come on now, we haven't got all day. Oh, sorry about that. Just give that rewind button a tap and we'll see if we can't start walking around things instead of into them. If you ever find yourself in a pickle, just remember that you can take a step back and try something else. Now, give these a whirl and see where they get you. There you go. Remember, Theo, you can look around at any time. What's that just there? Maybe you should give it a peek. I wonder what that's doing sitting around here. Maybe you should keep your eyes open for other interesting things. You never know what you'll find. Well, we're done here. Go on, leap into your family's arms. Lauren and Nathaniel are waiting. What was that? Oh, okay. Well. After being woken unceremoniously by a sudden noise, our hero Theo felt that if he was to be kept awake, he deserved to know why.
Legal, o nome do dono do gato chama Nathaniel.
Hã? Né? E...
Nathaniel. O dono do gato.
Although Theo felt the lure of sleep and the comfort of his bed, he really should go and investigate this ruckus. Despite his efforts, Theo couldn't simply stay here forever. He had to find out what was happening. Ah, perhaps things were a little more serious than he'd thought. The kitchen seemed normal, except what was that he could see across the room? He had to take a closer look. God. Theo couldn't believe what he was seeing. Was someone else here? As he turned away, Theo could only think about one thing. Someone was surely responsible for this, and he had to know who. Cautiously examining the hallway, Theo saw no signs of the killer. Instead, he found a path of destruction carved through strange machines before him. deeper into the room Theo moved, the more he realized that something was amiss. That bright red light hadn't always been there, had it? Although he could not shake the image of his departed owners, Theo suddenly found himself somewhere very different indeed. However, before he could appreciate his new surroundings, he found his attention drawn to the glowing hot wall of energy in front of him. Faced with something so clearly hazardous, he thought it might be wise to take a moment to think before diving headlong into oblivion. Oh, what a pleasant surprise! After his daring maneuver, Theo found that he was still fluid for this obstruction. Perhaps that broken vent offered salvation. Still somewhat tense from his previous trial, Theo was immensely relieved to find no deadly lasers when he emerged from the vent. On the other hand, he was instead faced with a functional, frantic, and quite soggy security robot.
É o nome do peixe. Buraco. Não, olha o nome dele.
Linguado confortável.
Tá, ok.
Peixe chamado Fergus.
Fergus.
O personagem dele chama Fergus, o rival.
Meu Deus.
Você é um linguado, eu vou te morder. Próxima sessão,
Descobrimos o que
prepare-se.
vai acontecer. O futuro do personagem dele vai ser esse aí.
Eu vou procurar um pote de shoyu na próxima cidade.
É isso.
Pior que em RPG, então ela vai fazer isso.
Se fodeu.
Tá dormindo.
As he skirted by the distracted machine, Theo found himself eyeing the hole-riddled aquarium. Either someone was stalking the halls shooting at water features, or the security needed to work on their aim. Though the appeal of fresh fish was enticing, it was offset by the risk of an unexpected bath. Rather than contemplate such a terrible fate any further, Theo decided to make a quick exit. Advancing cautiously, Theo was encouraged by the sight of another aquarium, this time with the water safely inside, not threatening to unpleasantly dampen his fur. There was no time to fish, however, as security appeared to be taking its job a touch more seriously. It was time to focus.
Quero saber cadê o outro coletável.
That time had arrived.
Cadê a... Cala a boca, o cara chato. Narrador inconveniente. Achei. Estrela do Mar, viva? Não sei, morta, talvez, mas nem aí pra situação, com certeza. É uma boa descrição de uma estrela do mar.
Então, né?
That time had arrived.
Qual é o objetivo do jogo?
Investigar o assassinato dos seus donos. Eu acho que eu fiz coisa errada.
Tearing his attention away from the unattainable, Theo delicately stepped between the broken remains of some very expensive-looking showpieces. Despite his lack of any understanding of fine art, he was disgusted by the wanton destruction before him. Having successfully weaved past the searching eyes of the guard, he was overjoyed to see that he could just follow the killer through a door, instead of crawling through the ventilation like a rodent. Theo cast his eyes about the grandiose room, the impressive decor marred by the smoking wreckage of robotic guards. Clearly, someone with no respect for interior design had been this way. However, hanging over the remains of a reception desk, Theo spotted some...
Me soube. Máquina automática. Oferece várias bebidas malévolas. Infelizmente, felizes não conseguem usá-lo.
Meu Deus.
Ainda bem que imagina um gato viciado em Coca-Cola.
Although this place was impressive, Theo knew he had precious little time to admire it.
Tchau.
Theo had many questions, but lollygagging wouldn't answer any of them.
Que isso? Um cartão com cartão de moto?
Despite the damage, the underlying class of this Brightpaw establishment was clear. The placement of several large aquariums, brimming with exotic fish, was an inspired design choice that Theo could respect.
Que medo, 2 cartões numa moto. Fala pro outro que ele também tá devendo, viu? Não é só um. Quanto mais cartão, mais dívidas.
He wouldn't find the answers to his questions here. across the room, breathing in the intoxicating fragrance of fish, while taking care to avoid the remaining hazards. As he did, his mind began to wander. Why was a place like this situated beneath his home? And more importantly, why had these fishy treats not been brought to his attention before? At first glance, it appeared that Theo had stumbled into a storage room for broken glass. Except there were other items in the glittering fragments. Grenades? Missiles? An umbrella?
From guided missiles to guided tours, we promise to be explosively friendly. Thank you for visiting Brightpool Industries.
Theo padded behind the guard, pondering his discoveries. A hidden underground facility, robotic security, and now rooms filled with odd weapons. What on earth was this place? Looking back, Theo considered that it was perhaps unwise to leave such destructive toys lying around. On the other hand, there was no way someone would leave live explosives on display. Probably best to ignore it and hurry on.
Greetings and salutation.
Theo contemplated the ruin. Perhaps those lasers were
Oi,
a motivator.
ruimzão. Preciso de algumas dessas pra sala de jantar. Uraque,
O que foi?
preciso de umas dessas pra sala de jantar, nossa.
Meu Deus.
Bonito.
Descrição.
Adorei.
Você já sabe o que vai acontecer nas reuniões do Hurak.
Joguinho de cachorrinho? Oi? Não, não é pacão. É gatólico. De marketing que eu adoro. Anúncio de granada. Precisa que seus inimigos desapareçam rápido? Prefere que eles fiquem em pedaços? Não precisa procurar mais. Atenção. Braço com boa pontaria não incluso. É, o Urax vai ficar sem um braço.
With the wall of death slowly advancing, Theo scrambled for a plan to slip by. There, across the room, a shattered glass wall offering a glimpse of escape.
Ué. Não era pra ir.
Deftly avoiding glass with his paws, Theo found his eyes drawn to a large portrait on the wall. Was that Nathaniel? As he stood, he wondered, how much of all this was his master responsible for? Someone had clearly been rifling through the deliveries recently, though they didn't seem to have found what they were looking for.
Aí você tem que perguntar pra ele, não pra mim. E ele tá em Nárnia hoje, então.
Had apparently added his name to the waiting list.
Bom banho. Lava atrás das orelhas.
Obviously, the killer had been looting the facility, and it was unlikely that they planned to use volatile weaponry to spread peace and joy. Being a conscientious cat, Theo knew it fell to him to put a stop to the killer's nefarious activities.
Tem que perguntar pra ele se ele comeu árvore de paladino, não pra mim.
Finding himself inside a warehouse, the towering stacks of crates gave Theo some measure of hope. Perhaps the killer would try to search the top of an unstable pile and fall to their doom.
Você tá ouvindo?
Lost in daydreams of the killer being buried alive, Theo stepped blindly forwards onto a conveyor belt, promptly shuffling him away from his happy thoughts. Perhaps he should pay more attention to where he's going. Perhaps it was unlikely that the killer would be ended by fallen cargo, but the belts leading into the dark and deadly machinery seemed to promise an untimely demise. spotting a bundle under some nearby crates, it appeared Theo's wishes had been heard. However, he tempered his excitement until he could get a closer look.
Olha, uma caixa. Gente, reborn você também.
Stepping over a broken belt with great care, he was disappointed to discover not a body, but simply several empty crates bearing the label High Explosive. The empty crates led Theo to conclude 3 things. The killer had found what they were looking for, they were definitely up to something, and Theo's work was not yet done. He moved on with the hope that the killer's loot would be enough to slow them down.
Tu voltou tudo desde o começo?
Eu não tenho movimento pra seguir daqui, isso que é foda.
Pelo que eu entendi, tu passa ali pelo cantinho e vai reto pra frente.
Tipo, eu preciso ir pro lado, só que ele não tá virado, entendeu? Ele tá pra frente, ó. Aí aqui ele termina numa caixa e aqui ele vai reto, ó.
Então, mas tu usa o...
Entendeu?
É que tipo, minha live tem delay. Consigo.
Peraí, deixa eu pôr aqui. Não, não vou por aqui não, tem 73 graus já.
Então, quando tu passa atrás daquela caixinha isolada ali, tu tem que ir reto, não tem que dobrar.
Pode ser.
E aí...
Non-existent threats. Perhaps the killer had just passed through?
Porque tu anda com a esteira, então daí a esteira já vai fazer um movimento por ti, entendeu?
lacking the desire to learn, moved him once again as it would any other box. As he headed for the door, Theo couldn't shake the feeling that the strange blue algae was creeping steadily across the wall behind him. Oh well, it was probably harmless.
Com certeza, probably are harmless.
Whoever Theo was following had certainly spooked these poor robots who were all consumed by blind panic.
Bem certo pra criar clima ótimo.
As he carefully padded forwards, avoiding lasers, Theo noticed the most curious drawing etched into the wall. But why would a killer stop to doodle?
Eu vou direto no laser esses dois. Eu vou direto no laser. Bicão!
Eles vão ter que passar primeiro pro outro laser?
Não sei não. Certo.
Ah, é porque ele vai parar, acho que na outra
Theo
uma
couldn't stop
caixinha lá
thinking
pra ganhar
about
um
the
espaço pra
bizarre
andar primeiro
graffiti
que ele.
he kept seeing. It was unlikely the killer was taking the time
Theo.
for artistic creativity. Was someone else in the facility?
O problema é que não tem carta pra isso.
Não, eu usei coisa errada não. Tipo, eu tinha que ter usado isso daqui, ó. Tá desequilibrado. Entendeu que ele muda?
As he stepped into the room, Theo found his racing mind halted by yet another drawing of a slightly more significant scale. A for effort, he supposed. but wonder who would put so much effort into these acts of vandalism. Was it maybe some kind of poorly drawn calling card? Perhaps, he thought as he carried on, the murderer was simply an awful artist. Whatever it was, the mural failed to hold Theo's interest long enough for any meaning to be gleaned. According to the booming sounds of heavy industry and the massive shipping containers, Theo had found himself in some Theo's eye was caught by something colourful and clearly out of place hanging from a rail across the room. A discarded tie. Was this some kind of taunt? It was becoming clear to Theo that the large boxes wouldn't just wait for him to cross, so he quickened his pace towards the infuriating clue. Clearly, the killer had left this tie to send a message, but in doing so, they had left a trail for Theo to follow. Perhaps he'd get the better of them yet. Perhaps the killer had made their own exit.
Trem semiconsciente sem emissão de carbono. Seu combustível é seu horror a transporte público. É um bom combustível.
É que é a história?
O combustível dele é o horror ao transporte público.
Meu Deus.
Stepping onto the train, Theo glanced towards his goal and noticed a strangely carefree-looking robot bumbling around near a control panel. Hopefully this one wasn't a threat. The train began to quake, and Theo couldn't react. Was quite unprepared for the sudden velocity and found his current predicament extremely upsetting. Luckily, he just needed to hold on until the train looped back to the station. ricketed past him, Theo pressed himself against the train and vowed to dedicate the rest of the ride to keeping his eyes open for low-flying objects of feline destruction.
Ah, cara, por que você tá gritando? Ups.
Theo might have found some comfort knowing he wasn't the
Eu não
only
posso
one
atropelar o robô.
caught
Droga.
unaware by the sudden departure.
Boa noite, dona. Como é que você
It
tá?
was all he could.
Eu também, então. Vou achar outro item coletável. Ixi, livro é triste. A mudança de temperatura brusca é uma merda por causa disso.
Theo tried not to let the burning robot distract him from his efforts to survive.
Ah, não tem movimento. Cacete.
In the distance, Theo could just about spot the station, approaching at a rapid pace. He just hoped to hold on a little longer.
Ah, tá certo. Ficar forçando a garganta se tá pra gripar não é bom, né?
Theo staggered off the train quickly, driven by his newfound appreciation for solid ground and the terrible fear that it might suddenly set off again. Just ahead of him, he could see that bloody robot that had sent the train off in the first place. As he followed the irritating machine through the Theo eyed his new surroundings curiously, noting the piles of unused tiles and pipes. Across what little floor existed, there was a sharp drop from which a blinding light and tremendous heat emanated. Besides this abyss sat... that bloody robot.
Oh, já volto.
Aí ele voltou a fazer live, Renzão, e agora ele tá com microfone. É que hoje ele não tava em casa, eu não consegui divulgar lá no Discord.
Theo focused on the path ahead, choosing to politely ignore the annoyance in the room. A shifting wall of energy was barring his progress. Perhaps turning off that strange machine would help. Theo was happy to move on and leave that robotic liability behind. Surely the killer couldn't be too far now. Entering another area with limited flooring, Theo wondered why all of these rooms seemed so unfinished. Maybe the... It was starting to look like Theo might have a tail. No pun intended. Oh, apparently Theo's new friend had some value after all. As the oblivious robot scampered over an obvious switch, Theo braced for the consequences. When none presented themselves, he decided to stay on alert. There was no way he was safe while that machine was bumping into things.
Tem robô me seguindo.
Contemplating the state of the room ahead, Theo reluctantly accepted that perhaps the robot's help might be necessary. Eu dar um indico em uma pessoa que sempre tá no meu stalk aqui. Quando você pegar afiliado, ele libera as qualidades pra você, Tanaka, é mais fácil pegar. Eu achei que você já tinha pego.
Não, é difícil pegar qualidade quando você não é afiliado. Nem sabia que dá. Ou você pegou afiliado? É bem chatinho. Tem vezes que eu tenho que reiniciar a live uns 500 vezes. Principalmente sexta-feira.
As he threw a disparaging glance at the machine, Theo noticed some worn writing on his chassis. D4Z. As a loud noise reverberated behind Theo, he wondered just what he had done to be cursed with a trundling mishap. Though his companion seemed to be some kind of cosmic setback magnet, Theo had to admit, Daz was endearing, aggravatingly so. Overwhelmed by the heat pouring from the broken machine, Theo mourned the obvious failings of engineering safety standards.
Tá um pouco mais de boa.
Theo flinched when he heard the now familiar sound of Daz activating another switch. He cautiously opened his eyes and was pleasantly surprised to see something positive had finally come from this robot's help. As Daz hurried into the elevator, Theo found himself growing slightly less aggrieved. Perhaps having the little fellow around might even be useful. Halt, Theo found himself suspended on what could kindly be referred to as a rough and ready bridge, or not so kindly as an invitation to a long plummet to certain death. Theo watched as Daz leapt gracefully down onto the scaffold to aid in his journey across.
Essa chave da fabricação de armas, o melhor lugar para o final de filme dos ação dos anos 80. Aí você vai ter o corpo do MacGyver ou alguma coisa do gênero.
Como é que é a história? Um cotonete.
Gerador geotérmico. A resposta à pergunta: por que os gênios do mal sempre estão perto de fontes de lava? Não sei se vale o risco.
Theo stared at him, shaming Daz with his steely gaze.
Por que os gênios do mal estão sempre perto de lava? Lava é quentinho.
Hopefully, he
Ué, o que eu tenho que fazer?
Considering the barrier ahead of him, Theo wondered if Daz could assist him once more, with the right guidance, of course. Theo found he quite enjoyed the company of
Entendeu? Nossa, quando eu tava pegando afiliado, eu não peguei nenhuma vez qualidade.
with the clanks and groans of tortured metal, punctuated by the steady drip of stagnant oil.
Que ele anda conseguindo pegar a qualidade mesmo sentado com afiliado.
Ah, normalmente é por fazer live mais frequente que tu consegue pegar mais fácil a qualidade.
Eu tô falando, tipo, quando eu fui pegar o afiliado 3 anos atrás, não tinha isso.
É, ficou um pouco mais light de fazer essas coisas.
Mas eu achei um pouco mais difícil de pegar, né? Porque tá bem ruim de pegar na Levias.
He just
Pegar o
disregarding the
afiliado, sim,
danger,
pegar a qualidade
Daz
mais fácil.
bravely leapt into the chasm to aid his feline companion. Surely he'd be fine.
Na verdade, tá tudo mais difícil. A gente não tem mais dinheiro pra matar pras pessoas. Mentira.
Meu robô morreu. Meu robô morreu. Não, robô.
Louco.
Stunned by the loss of poor Daz, Theo slowly padded onwards, barely noticing the more polished and functional walls around him.
Eles robôs parecem estar se divertindo naquela câmara.
Sim, eles estão mergulhados em algas. Tô chateada.
The only way to proceed seemed to be through a strange airlock. As he stepped inside and felt his hair begin to rise, he wondered if something was amiss. Huh? Ah! Ah!
Quê?
É isso, você morreu.
Well, thoroughly perplexed, Theo could only hope he wouldn't spontaneously burst into a cloud of electrons in the near future.
Diabos aconteceu aí?
Boa pergunta.
Despite the lingering crackles of energy in his fur, Theo found himself occupied with a rather spectacular plume of fire between himself and his goal. With nothing to hand to bar the flames and unwilling to risk singeing his whiskers, Theo was unsure of how to proceed. There must be something he could do. Amazing! It appeared that the mishap Theo had experienced had changed him in some fascinating ways. Before another jet of flame could spring up, Theo slipped deeper into the labs. Upon entering, Theo noticed there was a bridge leading straight to the door he needed. A definite positive. However, a large section had decided on a career change and was currently enjoying its new life as debris below. Laughing in the face of those without strange abilities, Theo casually willed a path into existence. Theo quickly sauntered across his creation, hoping that physics wouldn't try to reassert itself at an inopportune moment.
Última coisa pra pegar ali e volta. Beleza, tô na cama, bom banho.
Once again, Theo entered a laboratory which would have been quite easy to cross, if not for the disorganized heap of crates cluttering the corridor. It was always something.
Vou ver minha janta. Tá bom.
Oi?
Vou ver minha janta.
De quem?
Janta.
Ah,
Comida.
só vai ver a
Fome.
janta?
É, eu vou ver porque ela não tá pronta.
Ah.
Bem.
Hello.
Yes! Finally! Theo rushed through the doors. No! No, no, no! What happened here? Christ! They can't all be ruined, can they? I built this equipment! I implemented failsafes. Surely some of them must have made it! Oh God, no! It's all gone! What am I going to do? I can't stay trapped like this forever! There's no way I'll be able to start again with things in this state! And it's not like you'd be able to help! You probably don't even understand what's happening right now! Oh God! Lauren! Oh, well! Whoever did all this to me was bloody thorough! Just look, Theo! All of my work, every scrap of progress, reduced to bent metal and shattered glass! Clearly, whoever did all of this had some training. I bet it was MI5. Or maybe those umbrella-swinging secret society ponces. It's just their style to break into someone's home and trash everything in the name of Queen and and steal my ass, Koskov! Ah! All my work! My genius! And this is how it ends? I can't even do anything! I'm just along for the ride on the Theo Express! At least our chances of escaping here alive are minimal at best, so I won't have to suffer this joke of an existence for too damn long! Oh, I don't know, Theo. Maybe there's still a chance. We could escape this place and start from the ground up. Even with pause, we could try, and there'd still be viable samples on the bodies back at home. Maybe we could still save her.
dispositivo de distribuição de cafeína para os humanos. Estudo diz que enfeites aumentam a probabilidade de 0,02%. É isso.
But it would take years starting from nothing. Even if we did manage to collect viable samples, we'd have no way of storing them for that long. And I never found the chance to make a backup of her mind. I just can't believe she's gone. At least Joshua didn't get caught up in all of this. Who am I kidding? I'm not even me! I'm just a copy of Nathaniel's bloody mind squeezed into a brain the size of a tangerine! No offense, Theo. Honestly, it's amazing that we're both still alive in here at all. I've been hiding out in you for months without a body of my own. And when I saw him lying there dead in the house, I thought maybe I'd have my chance.
Achei.
Do you know what's really strange, Theo? The thing I miss most about having a body, more than anything else, is being able to wiggle my toes. It's bizarre. You'd expect something more grandiose. But it all comes down to the little things in the end. I would literally kill to feel a foot cramp again. Christ, watch out for those lasers where you...
Oi, Lu, como é que você tá?
So this is all I am now? Just a disembodied voice in a cat. Well, it could be worse, I suppose. The earliest experiments were on lesser creatures. Could you imagine scurrying around here trapped in the body of a mouse? It doesn't bear thinking about.
Cortei.
Oiê.
You wouldn't still be up for chasing down the killer, would you, Theo? I'll take that as a yes. Nothing like a bit of revenge to get the blood up.
Agora que eu jantei, vou fazer não sei o quê.
Quê?
Agora que eu jantei, eu vou jogar alguma coisa. Só
Você
não tem jogo pra jogar.
Você tem jogo pra jogar?
Não, não tenho. Por isso que eu falei que eu vou jogar alguma coisa, não disse que eu ia jogar jogo. Eu
I
posso
must
jogar
say,
perto na
Theo,
casa do
it is
vizinho,
quite a relief to drop the pretense and
posso
just talk to you
jogar
straight for once.
jogo
I
no
couldn't
da
just be
rua.
honest with you before, you understand? I mean, what was I supposed to say? Hello, Theo. Don't mind me, I'm just a strange voice in your head. Now be a dear and do exactly as I say.
tô gostando do jogo, achei que ia ser mais sem graça.
My God. Why on earth did I make the laser units so skittish? I can't believe I managed to make them so alert and yet so inept. What? That shutter should always be firmly sealed shut. Does this agent have no respect? No common decency at all? Get in there, Theo. I won't let this stand.
Vamos ver quantos capítulos tem.
I haven't been here in a very long time. Looks like the flora managed to thrive in my absence. But I can't say the same for the hardware. How on earth are we going to get around all that?
Praticamente 10.
I've got to admit, I'm at a loss here, Theo. Most of my ideas tend to revolve around having hands. Well, that'll do it. You know, I find it somewhat disconcerting how well you're taking to your new psychic potential, Theo. I can't deny its usefulness, though. I'd really rather not be back in this place. But if I was to stop that damnable killer from making off with any more of my property, then I guess I have no choice. Ooh.
Que bonitinho! Os gatinhos.
É isso. A gente está brincando com as skins do jogo.
Ah, são fofinhas, vai.
Pior que só.
Eu gosto disso daqui. Daqui pai. Mas peguei bastante coisa já do jogo.
Né?
Oh, I remember this one. Something about self-pollinating. That didn't seem to be enough. Needs more power.
Clica na planta, caralho. Ah, não deixa eu clicar na planta.
Lu.
Ela não coletava, mas não consegui clicar nela. E aí? Como faz?
É quieto, não consegue clicar no bagulho.
Ela não coletava. Só que não tô dando pra clicar nela.
Like it must have shorted out the last time someone used the door. We may have to perform some impromptu repairs, Theo. Nicely done, Theo. We might make an electrician out of you after all.
Não diz isso, não dá pra clicar na planta ali não.
I was so young and idealistic when I made all of this. It's almost sad to see it in ruins. Almost. Ah, the old hydroponics nursery. Lord, that robot must have been keeping this room running for at least a decade. Have to respect the dedication, if nothing else. Do be careful around those panels, Theo. I don't think that robot has any safety accreditation, and you aren't exactly shockproof. What?
Hihihi.
Tô surdo, tô surdo.
I guess the third.
Watch out for those plants here. I know they either cure third-degree burns or cause them. I just can't quite remember which.
Que jogo. Que jogo, Reborn?
Ele.
Que ele?
Olha.
Nossa, do Wally? Ah, eu comprei ele.
Comprou?
Comprei. Não lembrei de comprar.
Seems the easy way is out
Não
again.
esqueça de desativar o Bloom.
Vent over there might be an option though.
Quando tu abrir ele, tire todo o volume dos ouvidos, porque vai vir alto pra caralho.
Malditos programadores.
Uhum.
I'm... Ah! That's certainly an inventive use of your powers. Maybe a little warning next time, Theo. Just try to keep the acceleration within survivable limits, will you? Despite my growing disdain for vents, being a cat sure does give you a unique perspective on things. All this plant life makes it almost pleasant in here.
É, vai de gato.
You know, this is right. A word of advice, Theo. If the government offers to fund your research, it probably isn't worth it. They always take more than they give. Unlikely to be relevant to you, but worth keeping in mind. Christ, this place is completely flooded. I suppose you won't want to sit a paw in that. We'd best find a drier route. Oh, bugger. I think the door needs powering. That was quite crafty of you, Theo. Well, let's get out of here.
Tentar melhorar o mundo geralmente não dá lucro.
Não é?
Também acho.
More flooding. Theo, it would appear that there's another robot over there, and this one might actually be able to catch us. I'm not sure you'll be able to outrun it. Oh Lord, it's going to be very close! Ha ha! Excellent, Theo! That should buy us some time at least.
Vamos ver aquela merda.
That was a little bit too close for comfort there, Theo. If we could avoid situations like that from now on, I'd really appreciate it. What on earth are they doing? You know what? I'm getting to the point where seeing my own robots destroying what I've made is old hat. I can't say the irony is lost on me, though. Even though I hate a lot of things about this place, there was a time when I had to fight to keep it alive. The money men were demanding results, and Joshua was on the way. Seeing the rusted sitting in the middle of that hole in the floor. This is where I made a major breakthrough. I'm not with World Hunger, though. I realized I could weaponize some of my research. You can bet the people signing my checks were far more interested in that. That is where Brightpaw began. At the time, of course, it was just a necessary evil, a way to continue my work. Somehow I doubt the elevator is still in service. Up for another jaunt through the vents, Theo? The irony is, I actually figured it out. World Hunger, I mean. I was going to change the world, make a real difference to mankind. Best of all, I'd finally be able to share my work with my family. And those bastard pen pushers dismissed me without a second thought.
Tá aprontando aí.
Eletrocutando o gato, me deixa.
Meu Deus. Perdi o crab.
Ok.
Perdi um crab.
Eu eletrocutei o gato sem querer. Eu juro.
O eletrocutou o gato e eu perco meu signo.
It wasn't perfect, but it would have worked. I solved scarcity and they didn't even try. Then I realized if they
melhor manter distância se não estiver usando botinhas de segurança. Imagina um gatinho com botinhas de segurança, coisa fofa. Só tem esse colecionável?
What on earth? How is this place still so tidy? This fellow met his end in a very inconvenient place. I don't suppose you've got any other tricks up your sleeve?
É isso, tem um teleporte agora.
How did you even begin to try that? You know, the most disquieting thing about this entire situation is that despite all of my research and decades of questionable scientific investigation, I've never seen anything quite like your powers. Ah, this is more like it. They must have been trying to keep up appearances by sweeping all the mess back here. Seems like we're pretty hemmed in here, though, Theo. Whoop! Scratch that. Folding space-time certainly makes navigating this junk easier. I can't believe I actually just said that. Oh, I forgot about these. They were toys for Joshua. I was going to give them to him when I finally introduced him and Lauren to my work. It just goes to show how old all this is. He's a man in his own right now. The robots around here have been working away, keeping this place clean almost as long as he's been alive.
A carinha dos robôs são muito boas.
Don't worry about all the lightning. It's supposed to look like that. Just don't get too close, and you'll be fine. promise, it's safe. Enough. Really, Theo? It's probably fine.
Os funcionários
It's
são
only
muito ruins de
slightly
ficar.
life-threatening. Come on. Ah! Another blood. Ha! It appears your teleport trick stopped it dead in its tracks. Well, as nice as that is, there's no guarantee it will last. Let's not stick around to test the theory. How on earth have they kept this place so clean when they keep doing things like this? If your powers prevented the last robot from chasing us, I wonder what it would do to one of these. How wise of you, Theo. Looking before you leap. Should be safe to keep doing this. Probably. Why would they bother to expose the wiring like this? It's obvious they aren't doing anything with it. You would think I'd engineered the laser units purely to destroy my own property. That was a little bit too close for comfort. Guess it's good to know the limitations of your powers, if only to know when we need to run. Ha! Take that! This new ability of yours is proving very useful, don't you think? Now, we just need to traverse that gap. Okay, Theo. I don't want you getting a big head, but that was good thinking.
Olha, eu acho que essa empresa aqui que fez o jogo tem algo a ver com o Yooka-Laylee. Se bem que é da F-Mod, né? F-Mod da Yooka-Laylee. O easter egg do Yooka-Laylee.
Não, o joguinho até que tá bem polido aqui, tio.
É o quê?
O jogo até que tá bem polido aqui.
Bom. Droga.
Lovely! Just lovely! I doubt we can stun them all. We may have to come up with a different strategy.
O que aconteceu? Bah, valeu a raid! Boa noite, como é que você tá? Bem, no fim eu ia jogar só um pouquinho, não consegui sair do jogo, muito bom ele, bah. Eu não sou muito fã de jogo de carta, mas ele não é muito de carta, então. E sim, isso é um gato, pra saber. Tem roupinhas pros gatos. Tem um monte de roupinha. Que gato fofo. Não, eu vou jogar de gato preto isso. Que gato estranho. Tem um monte de skinzinha. Eu fiquei uma meia hora vendo os skins dos gatinhos. Eu achei essa linda.
Falo nada.
Beleza, bah. Eu fiz alguma cagada aqui. Volta. Mas...
A cara do Oli, velho, esse robô.
É o quê?
É muito a carinha do Oli.
Eu falei.
Só tô um pouco preocupado com o som desse jogo.
Não tá baixando?
Não, eu literalmente quase tirei o som de todo o jogo, dentro do jogo. E ainda assim tá dando uma explosão que tá quase me deixando surdo.
Vai ter que baixar pelo Windows.
Sim, nunca vi disso. Um jogo que não baixa o som.
Ah, tem bastante. Eu tô tiltado com headset é uma fucking god, sabe? Que entende que sua orelha não é pinico e etc.
Aquele headset inteligente que custa 5.000 pila, né? Que ninguém
Aqueles
compra.
headset inteligente que ninguém tem porque ninguém tem dinheiro pra comprar.
É.
Ó, buguei nessa daqui.
Coisinha bom.
Fazer as coisinhas.
Dá pra mexer a.
Eu não vi que dá pra mexer a bodega desgraçada ali. Agora tudo fica mais fácil. Porque agora tem movimento. Porra, Reborn, isso é foda. Não sei nem pra ver que dá pra coisar o coisinho.
É a vida.
This was going to be a place to relax and sit back with a book. Me and Lauren were going to be able to work together, and Joshua would have had an amazing place to grow up. Looks more like a construction site now.
Iba.
Oi, pá.
Pode jogar. Ô, cara,
Essa-
eu quase fiquei surdo, velho.
Cara, essa porra desse jogo, ele não tem configuração de imagem também. Qual que é o problema de colocar uma porra de uma configuração de tamanho de imagem?
Sei. Tô realmente preocupado com o futuro que vai ser das crianças que forem escutar ou jogar jogos novos. Não tudo tem que usar aparelho de ouvido daqui a uns tempos, porque vai todo mundo ficar surdo.
Palmo com surdo.
A princípio é um joguinho relaxante, tio. O problema é o som. Literalmente o som. Fora isso, tá bem tranquilinho de jogar. Tu vai catando os recursozinhos e captando as coisinhas que precisa.
Ô, robô chato.
Concordo.
dar. Ô, cacete. Onde é que eu tô?
I can't see a way past this laser, Theo.
Ih,
Isso.
oi, oi, oi.
It may shock you, but I've
Posso
always seen the
teleportar.
benefits of physical fitness as well as mental prowess.
Mãe de quem?
I thought it would be good for the whole family to
Posso
stay in
fazer
shape.
portais.
Então, pode ser.
Tá liberado no jogo que agora pra mim fazer portal. Né? Daí eu me lembrei que quando eu vi o trailer de portal com o óleo.
Tipo,
Oh, tudo.
tá ruim de ver esse gato. Droga, vou ter que mudar a skin dele. Eu perdi o gato umas 200 vezes. Deixa eu deixar ele mais clarinho.
I think it was when I was building this that I realized it would never work out. Lauren would have questioned where the funds came from, and she would have never accepted the truth. She had a very firm outlook on morality, you see. I would usually advise we find another route, but you seem to have developed a knack for problem solving by defying the laws of physics. So, what have you got up your sleeve this time? You're getting awfully good at juking those. I would usually advise we find another route, but you seem to have developed a knack for problem solving by defying the laws of physics. So, what have you got up your sleeve this time?
Não mesmo. Sim, sim, Tato. Joguinho de gato.
Pouquinho de tatinho. Tatinho. Eu acho que eu vi um gatinho.
Mais ou menos. Mas sim, jogo de carta. Estranhamente. O cara de robô chato. O ruim é que ele não me dá mais teleporte. Se ele me desse dar mais teleporte, ia ser mais fácil. Porque daí eu stunava ele. Mas infelizmente, tipo, se eu stuno ele, não tem teleporte.
You're getting awfully good at juking those. Even you'll have issues leaping through all this rubble, Theo. Let's find another path before that chaser wakes up.
Agora você vai me dar o psíquico. Toma teu cu, jogo desgraçado.
Eu não tenho voz, mas as duas naves estão conversando.
Que?
Não pergunte. Quando tu jogar, tu vai ver.
Medo.
Uhum.
Interessante. Tá bom, cara.
Esse negócio de nave conversar e etc. me lembra de Guia do Mochileiro das Galáxias.
Eles vão tirar, sei lá.
Que o Marvin vai conversar com a nave e a nave para de funcionar.
Então, né?
Aí eles perguntam pra ele o que aconteceu. Ele falou que ele tava conversando com a nave e a nave odeia ele. Mexer um quadrado. Por que eu não posso mexer um quadrado? Ô Tato, será que é o Pro dos card game? Como é que faz isso aqui? Eu vou matar o gato. Vamos matar o gato? Eu tô achando cruel esse jogo. Tem a chip pra você matar o gato 10 vezes. O Girardi tá vivo? Não sei. Urax, você tá vivo?
Eu tô, de certo modo.
Você está sendo solicitado no chat.
Que combina. Eu sempre acerto. Meu Deus. E aí, Combinho? Já chorou bastante?
Eu tenho que ir eu tenho que ir pros quadrados verde.
Porque assim, eles seguiram perfeitamente os quadrinhos. Se eles seguiram perfeitamente os quadrinhos, você deve estar chorando e puto. Então mandaram bem. Sigo dizendo, se tu chorou no final é porque os caras mandaram bem.
Legal que eu sempre fico preso no mesmo lugar, né? Tá, eu acho que eu achei. Tá parecendo promissor.
Oh no, we're trapped. I hope you remember how to repeat your latest trick.
Ai, meu live! Caralho, isso foi foda.
It's distressing to see the garden like this. I was hoping it might have escaped the decline that befell the labs. I stumbled upon this cave while I was building, and I thought it would make a lovely space for the family. Plenty of room for Joshua to play, and some nice plants for Lauren and I. I always planned to build a nice gazebo just over there. A serene place to just relax and take in the ambience. Is that a bloody crashed helicopter?
Olha, a participação especial do Gabec.
What? That's a Fennec chopper, MI5 standard. Those bastards have been after me for years. Is this how the killer got past all my security? Ha! Good thing they went down trying to land in here. There might be something useful in the wreckage. Theo, we've got to go and take a look. Come on, Theo, just a little closer.
Meu. Gente, eu ia parar a live, só que são 10 atos, então eu não sei se eu termino hoje.
Theo, are you in there? How many fingers am I holding up? Oh, wait. Bugger. Oh, crumbs. He's brain dead, isn't he? I mean, a brain dead cat. I think we've ended up in the facility's sewage system. If we want to find a way out, following the water is probably our best bet. I'll leave it to the freakishly competent psychic cat to...
tô achando que tinha um colecionável aqui. Pois.
This is all junk from Brightpaw. How long have those damn robots been flashing everything? Christ, I thought I was in control of things.
Ah tá, tu abre o live aí pra raidar você.
Watch out for these broken robots, Theo. They're probably still dangerous. What did I tell you? This whole bloody place is a hazard. Keep your eyes sharp. Well, this is clearly not my work. I don't recycle. Who the hell set up shop in my sewers? It's like the further we walk, the stranger things get. God, if Lauren could see me now, eh? Picking through rubbish in the sewers. What the? Are there people living down here in my sewer system? How bloody long has this been going on?
Binho, o que você me disse no Discord me fez ter 200% mais vontade de assistir o Sandman. Puta que me pariu. É isso.
Putz. Enquanto isso, eu estou passeando. Né?
Tô esperando o Tato abrir a live. Sem pressão nenhuma, tá? Mas eu dependo não sei, tá? Cadê o gato? Achei.
Nenhuma.
Ah! Get it, Theo! Before it gets us!
Olha como é fofo esse joguinho. Ok.
Que foi?
Não é fofo, não é fofo, não é fofo.
I'm sick and tired of having robots jump out at
Eu
me,
acho
Theo.
fofo nisso.
What did I do to deserve this?
É que eu resolvo isso
Don't
logo.
answer that. Was everyone here an agent sent after me? I did order my security to dispose of intruders. Perhaps they took it a bit too literally.
Será que se eu
So these
ficar
people
longe
decorated their
deles,
homes with
eles
surveillance footage of me and collected as many of my robots as they could. Forgive me if I find this a little unsettling.
Fudeu, bem fudido. Se enterrou de novo. Mas é, olha, tá enterrado. Quer ver, ó? Ui.
Well
Tá vendo,
spotted.
B.O.?
Now let's take our leave. Something about this place is making my skin crawl.
Como é que eu resolvo isso? Eu sou um robô, caralho.
It's probably just the wind.
Até onde eu sei, se tu bater com uma pedra em mim, eu morro.
Evite as pedras.
Frescor no cu.
Cu de quem?
There must be something we can do to block off those lasers. Can you see anything, Theo?
Tá, ele tá me batendo com o grito.
Batendo com o cu?
É isso.
Gente, eu nunca falei oi pro Tatsu. Oi, Tatsu.
Dá oi pra ele não. Só dá oi pra ele quando ele abrir a live.
Gente, meu oi.
É isso.
Pretendo dormir hoje e acordar amanhã. Até porque o combo filho do uma puta fez ter vontade de assistir e de ler o Sandman de novo, caralho. Já manda o link pra mim, Combo, quando você achar os negócios lá.
Quanto modo que eu vou passar? Não vou passar. Não tem pra passar. Tem outro aí.
Look out! That robot's coming right for us, Theo!
Ok, só. Eu tô pedindo ajuda pra mãe mesmo.
Christ alive! Broken
Passei
machines
de
are
tem outro.
significantly more intimidating when they're chasing you through the soup.
Cara, isso é muito chato, velho.
Mas eu tô quieto.
Não, não.
É, como Sandman, assim como o Silmarillion do Tolkien, são livros que não dá pra ler de qualquer jeito. Porque senão vai ser foda mesmo sem você entender. quer um quadrinho bom que é do Alan Moore, que é outro cara foda pra caralho, que se você lê em inglês vai ser de fácil entendimento. Meu Deus, o Tato realmente abriu a live.
Valeu, Tato! Sem pressão.
Não, nunca fui pressionado.
Eu nem lembro mais o que eu tava falando.
Bom, vou aproveitar que ele abriu a live, eu vou pra lá. Eu termino esse jogo outro dia. Que eu preciso ir amanhã, senão a Bá me mata. Eu tô enrolando ela desde fevereiro. Bom, vamos lá no Tato. Valeu quem ficou aí, valeu as raids. Ou a raid, não sei mais quem que veio. Só sei que a Bá veio e não lembro se veio mais alguém. Então, se veio mais alguém, valeu. Se não. Isso aí, vamos lá.
Pera. Não vai ainda.
Porque você não quer que eu vá aí.
Porque tá passando AD. Se cortar no meio do caminho, você perde dinheiro.
Ah, então tá bom. Vamos esperar lá dentro. Twitch me paga.
Eu não sou mercenário. Judeu, no máximo.
É isso.
Cacete, eu odeio essa merda.
Pronto, pode raidar.
Essa raid de novo, porque eu fechei essa porcaria. Ih.
Tchau.